Man, I feel like this car gets better every time I open up the garage. So after being in MIA for about 8 or 9 months, finally making another video. And the reason is that I'm gonna be picking up my motor next week. It's about a 20-hour drive from here. And I didn't wanna make another video unless I knew I was gonna get my motor. Because the last video I made, I was for sure that I was gonna get it. And then like the next week, I was gonna end up building it, putting inside the engine and building it and whatnot. But now I know, and it's going to happen. So by the time you see this video, the next video is going to be me picking it up or me like showing it off or something like that. So, but in the 8 or 9 months I've been MIA, haven't just been sitting on my butt doing nothing. I've been working on this car for that entire time. So for next week, I'm actually going to go over the car right now, show you what I've been doing. And I could make videos about what I did, but I really wanted the next video to be about like actually getting the engine, so my bad. So I'm gonna start from the front and then work my way back, show you what I've done. And there's a lot of things I've been doing. To me, it kind of doesn't feel like it, but when you do see it, you're gonna know what I'm talking about. Like, it feels like I didn't do that much work, but at the same time, I know I did, because it took a long time for me to actually do what I did or how I did it. Don't try to figure out what I just said. So up first is the radiator. I finally been able to finish it. Took me a lot of time and not a lot of money. I think I spent about $200 making this whole setup, minus the radiator, of course. And as you can see, I don't know, it's probably dark in there, but the brackets, they're all good to go. I painted them black so you can't really see them as much, but they're good. Have a little bit of flex in it, which is what you want. Bushings are all inside there, drilled out and whatnot, so it can fit proper. These are actually like the OEM bushings that came with the car, so I didn't have to do any type of bushings modifications, as you will. But it sits pretty good. I like it. I actually like where it is. And I might be getting a new or different style radiator. I was gonna get like another Mishimoto's for, I think they have like their X line for the S2000, which is a 2-row. I think it's a 2 or 3-row, I don't remember, but I was gonna get that one and modify the outlets. Because what's going on is that I had to chop off the bottom outlet on the end tank because it was actually coming in contact with the splitter, and I'll talk about that in a moment. But it's coming in contact, and this actually would be lifting up a lot more than it is right now, which is bad. I didn't want that. So the original plan for the radiator was for me to get another Mishimoto and go to somewhere and get it custom made. So I'll have both the end tanks on the top side, be closer to like my coolant lines and whatnot. But so quick edit, I found another company who makes different style radiators. So instead of the intakes being on the top and the bottom, they're actually going to be on the left and the right, with both inlets being on the driver's side. Don't know why I couldn't say that the first time around, but anyway, back to the video. I was gonna spend maybe $900, like $1,000 just getting a radiator. Always has to be custom made, and I don't want that. That's something that I don't want to deal with. I just want to buy a radiator and then move on. And with that, I don't have to have that worry of, oh man, my radiator's gone bad. Now I gotta wait for a week, 2 weeks, or a month to get another one. It's not a good look. So next up on the list is my custom made splitter, just the rough draft of it. It took a lot of time. I actually went on the S2K and Talk page on Facebook, asked the question like what type of size and dimensions I need to make a usable splitter that can be like used on like the street and maybe on the track. And a lot of people gave me their insight. The most common answer that I was getting, at least the length of it, 2 inches past the bumper. So that's what I did. The furthest part is like 2 inches. Yeah, I think right here, like this part is about 2 inches. I did do a lot of measurements. I actually had to start with this cardboard. This actually shapes out a lot better than the wood splitter. Hold on a second. And it looks a lot better, like the cuts are a lot better than what I did on that. But it is what it is. Like I said, this is just a rough draft. I do plan on getting a carbon fiber splitter. And yes, this is a splitter. This goes from the core support from where the radiator used to sit at all the way up to the front. It's pretty strong. I stand on it and I weigh about 200 pounds. Side wing inlet, which I mean, it's not gonna be looking like this. It looks kind of crap, but this is kind of how I wanted my splitter to be. I don't know if you can see back there, but I'll get to that in a second. This is kind of how I wanted the splitter to be. minus the whole jagged edges and whatnot. And I think when I get at the end of next year, that's when you're gonna see a carbon fiber splitter. Moving on to the engine bay. So in the winter, because it was too cold for me to work on this car, I decided to take out the body harness, or the engine harness, or the engine body harness on the passenger and driver side, and decided to redo the wiring harness with the mil-spec heat shrink. So ended up doing that, and I actually wanted to give the concentric twisting. So like I took everything out and just pretty much just did my whole wiring harness over again. And this is like a mild tuck. So anybody with S2000, you would know that like the wire harness will like come out from the fuse box on this side. Like you'll be sitting like this, and it will come out and like go along and sit right here. So I took all that out, and it'll be like the same thing on that side too. Took all it out, redid it, and it was a lot of wires. Like I think when I first did it, I was so happy I had Netflix. So I was just watching movies and doing that at the same time. It was a lot of wires, just a whole ball. But end up doing a tuck underneath the fenders, and this is about the same amount of wires minus I think 2 or 3, maybe 5 that I personally took out. Don't mind the whole mess right here. I just don't have any headlights, so I can't plug those in. But this is what it looks like on this is the passenger side, and this is what it looks like on the driver's side. And I didn't want to do a complete wire tuck, like getting rid of the fuse box and putting it inside the car. I actually wanted to be able to get access to the fuse box in case I need it. I didn't even want to put it inside the fender. I didn't want to have a bad fuse in here, and instead of taking like a couple minutes to replace, I'm taking the entire wheel off, or having to like turn the wheel and try to get my hands inside the fenders. I didn't want to do that. I just want to do a mild tuck that is still convenient for me. And turns out it went pretty well. Now, when the engine comes in and the mil-spec harness comes for that, it's gonna be looking just as clean, which is good. This took me a long time, and I could have made a video about this, but it took a long time. And I think like the whole heat shrink was about $200-300 just to get this done. Moving on to the rear, my buddy, I think before the snow hit, he came through and cut my rear quarter panels, and now I'm able to put my rear over fenders on. To be honest, I am not a big fan of the whole rivets. I think what I'm gonna do is actually get the fenders molded just for it to be a lot more clearer, because I like how this looks. Everything looks clean. There's no nuts or bolts you can really see. And you just move on to this, and you can just I just want that's like the seamless body lines that doesn't show any nuts or bolts on those rear fenders. That's just me personally. I think that's it. Spend most of my time just doing the whole wiring harness, which I see why shops would charge so much to do a wiring job, because it takes so much time, and it's not even difficult. It's just, it takes a lot of time to figure out how long you want the wires to be and where they're going to. It just takes a lot of time. Like, I'll probably put up a picture of how much wires it actually is. It took a long time, and that splitter didn't take that much time, but it, you know, you gotta start with something, and what I started with was just a rectangle, and just went off and just used some scissors and started cutting. But that's pretty much it for the video. Like I said, it's just an update of what I've been doing. And next week, I'm actually gonna go pick up my engine. Been a long time, been over a year, and finally ready. I picked up a lot of parts within last year until now, to the point where I should be able to make a video every Wednesday. So until then, I'll see you guys next time.